What's up, y'all? Peace and light, peace and love. It is Shakesha coming back again with the Sirius CYPHER on deck. We got the Quantum Lion, we got Aquarius Moon in the house, and we got Goddess Rah who just popped in on the scene. So we definitely going to be diving deep on this whole aspect of karma. But before we got on the call, we already started kind of diving in on how we have been experiencing this energy and how so many other teachers and so many other spiritualists have been out here giving that whole unique perspective on what's happening out here in these streets. And I was just telling them, I said, this is definitely a time for us to start lighting it up, y'all, for real, without a doubt. And I'm so glad to have these individuals here building with me, because these are some folks out here that's been doing the work that will bring a whole lot of unique perspective to the table. And I am definitely here for it. I'm here to learn. I'm here to do whatever it takes to help us to move forward in all of this. So peace and light, everybody. What's going on? I'm just go check in real quick. We go straight down the line, and I'm gonna start off with Brother Axel, the Quantum Lion. What's going on? How you feel?
I'm doing great. Like we were saying before we hopped on here, I'm in a space where I'm balancing out a lot of the energies that in the past might have, overwhelmed me to a certain degree, where you end up like feeling depleted a little bit. And then the cycle, like you said, you just kind of go through with it like a thunderstorm. And, there's always going to be that sunlight at the end of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Aquarius Moon in the house. What's going on with you, lady?
Not much, and a whole lot at the same time. You know how that is. But, we getting through it. I really resonated with what he said, Quantum Lion, like it's a cycle. Like it just, you go and go and go, and then you start all over again. So.
Mm-hmm.
Say word. Goddess Rah in the house. What's going on? You situated, Queen? What's happening?
I am. How are you?
I am all good. All is well. How have you been experiencing this energy? How you been feeling? How you been navigating?
Ooh, honey. I have I've been doing pretty well. I had some lows and highs, and even through those lows, they took me to the highs because I took a moment to accept what was going on, and then just evaluated everything and like, hey, it is what it is. Just got to go through it. Go through it.
Yeah, I can definitely dig it. I feel you on that, sis. And listen, we go dive deep, because I'm gonna tell you something. That karma situation that we are talking about is something that we can go on and on about. But I definitely wanted to check in, because this energy is a little different for me and navigating that, because I've been kind of in my head, because I know that this is Aries season, and I'm feeling like I should be like raw, but I'm still like kind of dragging to get it going and everything. It's like I'm gaining the momentum and everything. I'm feeling encouraged. I can see the light, but I'm just not quite there yet. So, that's what I've been experiencing. And then I looked at the code for the day. So today is March the 30th. And then March, it holds that energy of the 3, right? 3-3. Yes. Go ahead. Hey, you got something to say on that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, right now, every word is literally spanning, like my thought process goes into many avenues with just one word. That's what I've been experiencing. It's like a super consciousness that's hitting me. So yeah, I can go off of whatever, but yeah, we all know 33 is, what our spine is, our spinal column. We have 33 vertebrae, which is why they say that Jesus died at 33. It's symbolic of the spinal fluid going up your spine and hitting that pineal gland and causing the illumination. Yeah, there's a ton with that 33.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you kicked it in there with that 33, because I didn't even peep that. I'm breaking down threes in itself. Like 3 is that number of creativity, that number of expression and everything. But then it being today, it being a 30 day, for me, how I'm seeing it is like the possibilities with that are limitless, are endless in this time. So this is definitely a time for us to start shifting our focus, getting our mind right, and getting it together so that we can definitely start making that happen. But when I crunched all of the numbers together, the number for today, numerology, from the numerology perspective.
Yeah.
From the numerology perspective is the number 4, which is all about like our foundations, our processes and everything. So that was giving me, you know, some more perspective on what Sheila was talking about last week when she got in here, and she was speaking on about how we need to start working on those algorithms with the form we love, and how we go about, you know what I'm saying, making some real lasting changes, not just, you know, because I'm one of those people, you know, I'll make these changes and everything, I'll get the results, and then I'm out the game. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm back on this hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying? Like really making these adjustments. See, when she said that algorithm, that hit me a little different. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely. What's going on, brother Dante? Uh-oh, Sheila in the house. How you feel?
Going on, family? I'm here. I'm in the car, but I'm showing up. So I'm in the cipher. What's up, Aquarius? And Axel and Goddess Rah and Dante.
Good to see the family here. That's good. That's good.
What's up, brother Dante?
What's up, Dante?
Then what's going on, y'all?
Good, brother. Feeling this energy, like that's what we're here to talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's on point with this karma thing coming around. Interestingly, they had a Aquarius Maximus again on that Black Magic 363, right? So that she was talking about, she hit on a lot of points that I was already channeling in, but the way I read energy a lot of times comes to me as in the form of a symbol. So this year, the 2023, the 23 stands out to me as a basketball player, but also worldwide as the symbology of the jump man, which is the Air Jordan.
Right.
So to me, Spirit laid that back to me like a year and a half before this happened, and then said 2024 is Gigi and Kobe Bryant. Symbolically, what I heard was retribution. So then she went and said Uranus would be in 2025 going into a different shift that would open up, you know, basically our lifeline with alien contact. So all of that coincided with what I was hearing, which is 2023 is the symbology of a planetary ascension, because it's no longer just an individual thing. This is the planet taking its ascension. 2024, she said, would be reparations. So that goes hand in hand with retribution.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought that shit up, because it helped me to feel feeling so fucking validated with that, man, because I was really struggling. I remember talking to Miss Blue, and she was like, oh, that's powerful. But then she picked up my energy, and I was like, yeah, you get it. It's like, I can't really, you know, I picked this up, and a lot of other people just ain't feeling it. And it seems like it kind of borders on delusion when I talk about that shit. But I remember I was telling folks, we need to start lighting a candle for justice. We need reparations out here in these streets. We need justice out here. This is bigger than just it being, we need reparations, you know, because, you know, we joke about that shit, you know what I'm saying? With, you know, black folk go run out and buy Newports and Hennessy with all their money and everything. And the only person that's gonna get rich is the weed man and Gucci and all of that type of foolishness, right?
But then it falls back to karma.
Right, absolutely.
Like karmic debt, you know, on a certain spectrum. So the pendulum has to swing the other way. And the timing seems, you know, just.
The timing seems just. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I remember, what was this, back in 2019, 2020, when I first started getting the downloads about getting that candle lit up for justice and the need for reparations. And I remember when I was talking about that, people was looking at me like, man, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? There ain't gonna be no reparations at this point in life. But then Pluto was in, not Aquarius, and Pluto was in Capricorn. I had that note down there. I wrote it down. Pluto had shifted into Capricorn. And that was like at the time when we signed the Declaration of Independence and all of that other stuff. So the astrology was even beginning to speak on that. And so this is what was really like, you know what I'm saying? It was just a really powerful time. And so now it's looking like we're beginning to see this shit unfold. And we get a front row seat for that.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And you know, and this is what we would call karma and justice. But I don't know. And this, for me, there's no right or wrong answer on that. But is karma and justice the same thing? Does anybody?
No.
Thoughts? No? Okay.
Well, I would say not in a sense.
Okay.
But I would say for everything that we do, there is to be an equal and opposite reaction for it all the time. So it's not about justice, it's about keeping a balance. You know, you can't stay all the way to the left and then expect not to swing back right. You know?
Yeah,
so that's how I.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But at the same time, we have to think of Mayat, right? Which does represent a universal form of justice. So in a way, it is justice. It's just a different way of perceiving it. Because she's right. It is a pendulum swing. But I think the work with us, especially in meditation in these moments, is like to really come to terms with where you might have fucked up.
Right.
Things that you might have done or fucked people over, and really talking to these people's spirits and saying, yo, please apologize. I mean, I apologize. I'm sorry. And like, not until you feel it in your soul, like something has shifted there, you let it go.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you're reaching out to this person to let go. Now, let's bring sex into it, right? Because sex is a big thing as well. I've had to go into my meditation and say, yo, all these times I had sex with different people, I don't know what kind of subconscious level I was on and feeding it into these people. I'm calling that energy back. Y'all don't need to take that.
That's
you get
powerful.
What I'm saying?
That's powerful.
So those moments are literally freeing me up, and it's freeing them up at the same time. So you're creating a emptiness, a space now where things can move fluidly instead of feeling stuck. And I hear in the word karma, I hear the word ka, and I hear ma. Right? The mother energy, this is where I'm reading symbolically, I'm reading Maya. But the ka also has to do with the soul, the aspect of the soul, right? It's your life force.
Right.
So, and it's also your double.
Right.
So we all have this double, right? So today I was talking about, coincidentally, I'm talking about bringing down Quantum Lion into this avatar now.
Okay.
That higher self has to embody into this body now. Like, this is no more like I'm separated. I'm trying to bring that down. So that is kind of being conscious and aware of it and it of me, and trying to create a new form of karma.
Absolutely. That's perfect. Because see, this is exactly what the stars is saying with this Saturn being in Pisces. This is a time for us to really come up out of the fucking delusions that we got about ourselves. I'm good people at the end of the day. I really, you know what I'm saying? Most of my friends are Black. You know what I'm saying? Most of my friends are white. Whatever your thing is, right? You know what I'm saying? Like really coming out of delusion and really beginning to deal with who you are as a person so that you can move to a space of acceptance and move forward. Now, and we get to choose the direction on how we get to navigate. I think that maybe some of the concerns that we have, because now we live in such a cancel culture, that being yourself and being true to who you are, you get canceled, you get rejected and everything. And you know, and I guess you can say that's karma on on a level, but I would have to argue from a karmic perspective on just speaking your truth and being true to who you are and not having any concerns about what someone else is thinking. This whole cancel culture thing, like we see people getting buried with all of that, but at the end of the day, ain't there a charge of freedom? How can karma show up and assist us with that?
I mean, I could talk all day. I would love someone else to take the mic. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to take over. But yeah, I talk whenever you ask me to.
Well, listen, yeah. Hey, listen, and it's all good because there's no right or wrong answer. This is really more about, you know, our thoughts on that and what the impression is. Like, because on some levels we got different. When I looked up karma today earlier, and it was talking about there's 5 types of karma. Okay. There's collective karma, there's karma of time, karma of a place, karma of a family, and individual karma. Does anybody have any thoughts on these different types of karma, these 5 ones? This collective karma is one of the ones that I'm just really sitting back like,
Yeah, I've been watching that for a while now, this collective karma. But what I'm feeling like is for us to come together to raise the vibration of the planet so we can all ascend together. And I believe that once we get that done, it's going to kind of even out our past karma, because we've been dealing with, you know, the I don't want to say the backlash or whatever, but I guess the other pendulum swing from all the karma that's been going on with this planet, how we've been running it down. We haven't been taking care of our home. You know, we've been just out here running wild instead of really being one with nature and being one with ourselves and the universe. So, you know, all is one, and we have to get back to that before everything will be all said and done. I feel like, though, that there is going to be a big upheaval, you know, in the spiritual realm and physical realm. So once that upheaval has happened and the dust has settled, I think kind of back to an even playing. We'll be back to being brothers and sisters with one another and the planet.
You know what? And one of the things that I was looking into, like the principles in karma. And it talks a little bit about karma, it being non-transferable, which means that you are responsible for your own karmic experiences. However, from my understanding, and somebody else, if you have some thoughts on this, from my understanding, karma has also been able to show up as if you begin intervening on somebody else's behalf, where you facilitating sorriness for somebody. Let's say you got somebody that just won't get their shit together, and you keep showing up rescuing them and bailing them out of that shit, and they're never catching the lessons. And then you start seeing all of the blowback from them not catching the lessons show up and kick your ass at the end of the day. How I experience that. Go ahead, please.
I said I've had that lesson, and you know what it is with my children, with me being a mother, you know what I'm saying, a hovering mother at that, you know, anything that they're going through, I'm right there to pick it up and clean it up and all of that stuff. And it's like, it's gotten to the point to where now when I need them to go ahead and step out on their own, they feel entitled. You know, they feel entitled to my things. Like now I have no small children anymore. All my children are grown. The youngest is 21. So they just really feel entitled and they wait for mommy to clean everything up for them. So now my karma is having to deal with all of their issues and still try to usher them into the right direction. And it's also hard as hell for me to let go because I know the bullshit that they're getting ready to face. But I do have to step back and I'm working on it. So
That's
yeah.
dope. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. See, and that whole idea that karma is all yours and no one else's, I think that, you know, maybe that may have been true at a time. But at this particular time, it seems like our karma is more on a collective note, because now we're starting to see like a lot of, and then now let's look at like all of the events that's been happening over the past few years and everything, right? And so now we're starting to get more information. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but no, I was just wanted to say there is no either or. They all can be right at the same time.
Yeah.
There is no either. Everything is a possibility. There's nothing that's not a possibility. All of it can be.
Yeah. What about karma of time? What does that look like? Does anybody have any thoughts of what? How in the hell can time be karmic?
It's time.
Yeah. We're timeless beings, so the fact that we're trapped within time is karma. So yeah, the further we go into our spirituality, the more we will experience timelessness, omniscience, omnipresence, all those things that they named for God. You will experience it. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. You know, is just, this is gonna be a process. And right now, for me, I'm happy because I could see the outcome, but I know that there's turmoil.
Absolutely.
There always has to be something that's challenging us and pressing us to really change our thoughts.
Right.
Like here in California, it's been raining every week, like at least a few days out of the week, and I haven't seen that in a long time.
Wow.
But that has to do with, spirits. It has to do with energy signatures. It has to do with the release of ancient knowledge that was trapped even in the ice, and now it's being melted away, evaporating, traveling to us, and coming to us in the form of water. Our spirit reads all these things. We're not conscious of it a lot of times, but the more awareness that we have towards these different things, the more you get connected to these energy signatures and they begin just speaking.
Right.
It's like plugging into a certain frequency.
Word. That, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then what came to mind when I first heard that, because the karma of time was hard for me to wrap my mind around. The only thing that I could really think of is how I'm experiencing the time and how it seems to be moving a lot faster now. And I don't know if that's a thing that happens like as you get older, the time it seems to move faster and everything. But I've noticed that many folks have talked about their experience of time seeming to speed up. And then the word on the street is that this whole thing with daylight savings time, where we have the fall back and spring forward with the time adjustments and everything, they're supposed to be doing away for that for whatever reason. And I have, I guess because we don't really need that system anymore for them to be messing with it. But, I don't know for sure how true that actually is, but it would be helpful if they would stop messing with the time.
The way time it's just for us to give us a coordinates of when and where to meet, or when something happen, because in all actuality, time is not real. So this is just a system that we were taught to use so we can coordinate where everybody's going to be and what everybody's doing. Shoot, I had something else to say and it just left my head that quick. But yeah, with time not being real, and as Brother Axel said earlier, we're timeless beings. So time really makes no sense. We can flow in and out of time at will to get to that. So that's why it's like registering, because we're not supposed to be registering anyway.
Before, we used to deal with time more as like what they called aeons. Aeons are just like cycles or whatever, but now everything got usurped. Okay, all the energies got taken over because it was that cycle for it to be taken over. But before, we dealt, with life as gods in our thoughts, and we were timeless. So therefore, we had a different perspective of how things moved. We didn't have watches. We didn't have anything like that. So if you read into Aeon, that's an aspect of actually quantum line as well, because it's a timeless being. Time we're limited by time. Everything we do is like, we got to wake our ass up because we got to go to work at a certain time. We got to do this at a certain time. So it's just perspective. The higher your perspective, the more you realize there really is no time. This is just like part of the illusion that we created as part of the experience.
Right.
There's no right and wrong with all this shit, but it got usurped for the time of that cycle. We're going to go back to knowing all these things and operating much different.
Right. Absolutely. And I was just looking like energetics too, because Saturn is supposed to be dealing with that whole aspect of Chronos, right? And it dealing with that whole energy around December, the solstice, and all of that other, you know what I'm saying? And so when I started to think about Saturn and it being in Pisces and how it's connected to that, it really got me into that whole mentality of how time has been over the time we've been practicing things this way. And now we're getting an opportunity for us to kind of take a look at the way we've been going about things over time and make some adjustments. I want to ask anybody that's up for this question, no right or wrong answers. I'm just curious to know. Do you think that we can avoid our karma? Is there a way to usurp that, get around it?
Yeah, there is. Who we call the opposition right now in this cycle, they do those rituals. They sacrifice children to certain energies because they usurp their karma through it.
Get the hell out.
Yeah, it's a way of usurping time. I forget.
Oh wow.
I'm forgetting how the specific thing. I'll find it for you.
Yeah.
And I'll shoot that to you one day. But it's a way that they do a ritual every year, and it's a way, if we're not aware of it and we're not doing the counter ritual to counteract that, then they get away with it. So we have been in the blind for a very long time. So they've been just using these rituals to keep their karma, basically postponing their karma, I should say. They've been postponing their karma. So the karma's still there and it's been building up. So that ass is gonna get clapped.
Okay,
anyways.
so wait a minute. I'm trying to make sure I understand what I'm hearing here. So from my understanding, what you're saying is that there's some people out here who are doing rituals where they're making the sacrifice. The intention with the sacrifice is to help in reversing the karma, or at least slowing it down. It's holy shit. For what purpose would that be? Or I mean, for karma on what?
Well, you're talking about these agendas that have been installed for these cycles that have kept us fucking blind, and they're not trying to let go. You know, so I don't even judge it. That's where I stand. Like, once you realize all this shit, you just become the observer, and as a Godhead, you start to really not have judgment over it. You just say, well, shit, that's part of the cycle, and actually we need that in order for us to see it. Right? How like when we're in church and we're like, oh, well, when I saw a demon come out of a lady and she's speaking like a man, I'm like, oh shit, I believe in God now, right? Because I saw the devil. So we have to see this ugliness to a point where there's not facing it no more. And that's what's been a buildup over time. And, you know, on my end, I create my own rituals because I know what's happening. I know what's happening on opposite spectrum. So that would be not right of me if I knew it and not enacting my own rituals to reverse everything. I've been doing a lot of work with reversing stuff. Even like when I meditate, I'll do like my head in a certain motion. It's sending up a spiral to creator, and he's sending the counter spiral back, and I'm seeing it in real time. So it's everything's right around the corner. We just all had to get to this point of enlightenment where we all see this higher self that we think is somewhere else, and bringing that down and really bringing our Godhead here to this Midgard, to this middle garden.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So that'd be like, is that like not going to happen until like the collective consciousness gets to a certain level? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, it'll take for, you know, one person can change a ton of people. Just when they are truly filled with that type of love and that type of energy where you could see past all of the veils, that one person can change so much. But it's going to become a few of those types of people rising up, which is already happening, and then people actually having the outside collapsing at the same time. And then it's like people are going to look to people like us that are filled with love because they don't have it nowhere else. Now, is it going to be too late? I don't know. Because the way I look at it is like, if you're a bad energy, I'm just saying, yo, your time is up. Your cycle's up. Like, you got to move on. Either you upgrade, transform your thought processes as a god, right? Because they exist as energy signatures. So either you pick up your energy just like I'm picking it up, or it's time to move on, you know. And some people are dying, some people are doing all this. Now, am I causing death? Probably, but I don't view death the same way people view death. I see it like I'm helping you out, because once you reach that other realm, you're gonna see what happened and the role you played, and you're gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna come down when this shit is nice and settled, and I'm gonna come down, and this is when we're being regenerated with all these children that are coming in that are you know, our ancestors, older than us and stuff like that. That's how I view it.
Absolutely. So let me ask some questions. I want to get Sheila and Brother Dante and Goddess Rah in this discussion here. And I want to talk a little bit about like how karma shows up in like many of our relationship patterns and everything. And the word on the street is that you can create karma from your actions. We already know that, your thoughts, your words, the actions, and all of that other stuff. But then they say that you can do it from ignorance as well. And right now, it being a time for us to really start examining a lot of those behaviors and all of that stuff. What are some things that you have observed out here in these cosmic streets that are causing people the most negative karma? Because we can look at karma on both ends, right? We can see it as positive. You know, you going out here, you showing up and looking out for folks, and you know that creates a lot of good karma. But then there's other ways that you can do that. Stealing, gossiping from folks, and all of this other stuff, and it shows up in different ways. What is your thoughts on how this karma has been showing up and expressing itself, especially right now at a time where we're starting to see a lot of shit show up and begin to be exposed out here? I think you are on mute if you're talking.
Nope.
Okay, go ahead, brother Dante, unmute yourself, because can you unmute yourself? Because I can't unmute you.
I think I did it. Did I do it?
Yeah, you get.
Yeah,
we hear.
I got you. Okay.
She said, okay. No, I did want to speak on time not being real.
Okay.
From a different, I just wanted to even chime in just on that. Okay. And on the whole collective karma idea. And as far as time not being real, I feel like that's only like if you have like a soul type of experience. Okay. Because only the soul can be timeless. So you must have did some shit. I'm sorry. You must have did some shit to experience that, because that's some shit, you know, to have like a soul experience, because as so long as you're in a body, just at its foundation, you are already like a spirit. Like the karma is nonstop. It's a constant Pan's Labyrinth. It's a constant equation that you're constantly figuring out. And you were born at a certain time. So for time can be flexible when you're having a spiritual experience. If you're even like, whether you're doing it consciously or not, like when you have fun and time flies, and then when you at a job that you don't want to be at, it's going slower. So it's flexible. So it's not real, but it is though, because it's still there and you're still experiencing something, and you need a platform to experience anything. And so long as you are having spiritual experiences, you're doing it within the confines of time, because even in a dream, dreams can feel at different times. Like you can feel like it was 8 hours of sleep and 1 hour sometimes, or vice versa. So even then, everything, your zodiac is in time. Your period is in time. Like if time don't exist, then your period wouldn't stop. Like, oh, so, excuse me. That's kind of blunt, but that just came out. Excuse me. I thought I had to make a real point.
It was profound what you were saying.
I wasn't even. I did not design that. And as far as like collective karma, I believe it's wherever you hold your consciousness at the most.
Absolutely.
And why you came down here, because if you came down here and you're a part of soul groups such as the Remix and then other soul groups or whatnot, then that's already is cause and effect. It's just something that was in was in effect before you got here. So
Mm.
it was planned to get you there, no matter how it got you there, what kind of weird way it made you get there. It's just gonna get you there. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, if it wasn't no such thing as time, what if you never became conscious and you was just almost conscious for hella years? So time better exists.
Well, I feel
You know
like
what I'm saying? Hey,
Well,
time better exists or be
that's
stuck. Hold on, be stuck in this motherfucker while they got artificial intelligence that's gonna wipe out most jobs hella fast in the next few years and doing weird art. And you can say, make me a Timberland beat, and the shit's gonna make you a Timberland beat.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going, it's gonna get that boring to where I don't know. Like it's
that
only you're gonna be. It's the
what I'm
If
saying.
purge.
our
The
vibration
purge.
is high
Implying that
enough, if our vibration is high enough, wouldn't our karma be if AI took over? Then, if our vibration is high enough, we could take that in with gratitude. And so then we use that time to spend time for our meaningful connections with our families, with our children. We can get out and walk in nature. We can actually start taking vacations and enjoying life. Like, I don't think that there will be absolutely no ways for us to be able to create a living. I don't think
Now,
that all
most
of that,
deaf,
right. And we all sleep.
most deaf. I don't think so. I think it's gonna become though. It's gonna become um like if you ain't, you have to be authentically on this spiritual shit, or AI got it.
Mm,
So if you ask any questions about what zodiac is, whatever,
mm-hmm.
and you can fucking just ask Google that. In a few years, when they start equipping that shit with like everything they're recording,
Right.
they're this shit, they're it's becoming.
But don't I mean, and then
Yeah,
we can also argue that
we are
AI
in
is already
serious.
controlling the consciousness, though, because we got social media that kind of directs how people feel about everything.
definitely.
Plus, the phones and shit can record without you even knowing
Yeah.
that it's recording any fucking way.
Yeah.
And then studying that part of you, the parts you think, and it's gonna store that in the. This is the unrecorded. You know, this was when he wasn't on the phone or, wasn't talking to anyone. When he thought we wasn't recording, this is what they'll fucking have files on your ass.
Hey, have you ever been on the phone? Anybody, have y'all ever been on the, let's say you just having a regular conversation with somebody in the house, and then you get on your phone and that shit shows up all in your feed, all in your
Yeah,
search
no, it
engine,
did.
and you
It
ain't even,
definitely.
right,
It
you
did
ain't
that.
even look for that shit on the phone.
Now I did that with shit that I thought in my head though. That's what started tweaking me out. Cause
What?
I'm not sure how that's happening. Like it'd be too much specific shit too.
Are you on
well,
an
be
iPhone or
Like,
Android?
it's
fuck,
because our mind is creating and creating with the mind up there, right? And we're receiving an algorithm. So although we look at this like AI, it is also spiritual. We just have to be careful, moving forward, because speaking of karma, we're talking about we were already very technological at one point in
Mm-hmm.
Atlantis, right? The scientists, all this shit. So the way I'm looking at this time is that we're going to experience Atlantis 2.0. And this is our chance for that karmic debt that is ancient. I'm talking about some people went fucking AWOL and did their own shit and created a priesthood and did all these things to keep people in a sort of bondage.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so so I think that this AI experience that we're going into, yeah, there's some that rubs me the wrong way about it. Why? Because in our soul, we remember how technologically advanced we were at a certain point, and it fucking betrayed us.
this shit sucks really.
Yeah. But wasn't what didn't Atlantis didn't the city of Atlantis fall because of the same shit that we dealing with today? Like, wasn't the legend that materialism had taken them over and that was the cause of the fall of their society?
Well, they were so spiritually advanced with their gifts that they began manipulating that. And basically you would have like secret groups, you know, that now would say, hey, let's do this. And now you became a priesthood. And, you know, some of those priesthood and these scientists that were highly spiritual scientists manipulated the energies. And so we have low energies.
Absolutely.
You know, so I believe that this is what we're going into now. Do I fear it for myself? No. You know, but I'm constantly having to have conversations with my daughter, right? Because this is the age she's being born into. Or she's 10 years
she be
10 years
asking
old.
you about this stuff. Like they how she be what be how do you
Oh
get to
yes,
her?
my daughter asks all sorts of questions, bro. Like she asks crazy questions,
They
you
be
know.
Farsies, man, no doubt.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say they're
she
like
has crazy
crazy
questions, you
questions.
know,
I wouldn't
and
call them like
the
crazy.
thing about it is I give her the both perspectives of technology, what it's doing good and what I see can go wrong.
Absolutely.
And so what that allows for her is that doesn't mean I keep her from everything. You know what I mean? She has a tablet, but she does have limits.
Right.
She has certain
Yeah.
things. So there's structure around it. And then she'll come to me and she'll say, I see certain kids doing this, this, and this, and I just don't see how that's doing us any good. You know what I'm saying? She's already enveloping sort of the info I've put in there, but I'm not hovering over her and saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, I understand she came here to have an experience just like I did.
Yeah.
But as her father, I have to give her, you know, the layout of what are the options here, what are the choices, and what those choice outcomes will be. So just be careful, you know what I mean? Like, that's it.
What do you guys think about the fact that like all these cell phones and these technologies are actually reverse engineered from us and our spiritual connections that we're supposed to have and that we're supposed to, like, we're not supposed to need a device to connect to one another and speak and communicate information. You know, that's not how this is supposed to be. These things are just mimicking us and what we
that
do.
that's where my ancient soul is kind of like, no, right? Like I don't want to
Your
go into that.
ancient soul.
But at the same time, if we're working as a collective, right? It's not just us. If we're working as a collective, then we have to, like Sister Myra says about the zodiacs, right? You have to harmonize the opposite zodiac.
Absolutely.
So I see it in the same way. How, if we're coming into this computer age and it's been here, I say this to source: if this shit's gonna go wrong, get me the fuck out of here before this shit goes down, right? Or let me grow myself spiritually to see things in a different perspective. Like you're saying, AI could give us more time to do all this stuff. It's just a fine line that we really have to process as we're moving along and not just look at this like blindly.
Right.
You know, it's, don't overthink it, just trust your intuition. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Sheila, do you have any thoughts? Or Goddess Rah, do you guys have any thoughts? I want to make sure we ain't leaving y'all out.
Yeah, I want to hear them.
On any thoughts on karma? Any thoughts that's coming to you at all on karma right about now? Not necessarily any questions that I have to pose right now on it for you specifically, but if you have any thoughts on this discussion, you know, definitely.
You know, I don't know if Goddess Rah have anything, but you know, when it comes to karma, everybody got so many different definitions of what it is and what it could be. You know, I'm really lame when it comes to the whole karma thing. You know, I just know that reciprocity is what you get. So you can call that karma, you can call it magnetism.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You could call it so many things. You know, even when it comes to artificial intelligence, it's programmable, right? As I use it. I do the chat GPT. I use it in my videos when I morph images into different images. I use it. And so it's all on how you employ it. You know, I'm very careful with it though. And when I say that, again, it's not fear, but it's I exercise a lot of care for myself when I'm engaging in it. I exercise care for the people around me, however I decide to use it, because it's uncharted territory. And but I was that way with the television. You know what I'm saying? When some things came through the television showing my children that I didn't like, and I seen them in this trans state, I got rid of them shits. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, okay, let me go and recalibrate how I'm going to use the television instead of it using me. And so then when I figured it out, I was like, okay, just get the television and you control what comes out of the television instead of accepting what comes in. So I didn't have an antenna and I didn't have cable. I had a DVD player and a VCR. And so whatever I put on the television is what came out of it to my children. And then it was like, okay, Sheila, how much more further can you control the television? What can you use it for? You know? And so I taught my 17-year-old son, or the television or closed caption taught my 17-year-old son how to read, because I left it on closed caption. So everything he was watching, he was reading. So he learned how to read. 17 months. And it wasn't so much that he learned how to read, he memorized the words, you know, that he seen based off what somebody said. So when he seen those words again, he could say what that word was. And so I employed the television. And so right now, my karma when I'm using AI is I employ it. The minute it employs me is when I have a problem, because employment is slavery, right? I mean, at the end of the day, employment is slavery. When you depend on going to work and getting a wage, and it's not gainful employment, it's just, you know, everybody, myself, has lived paycheck to paycheck. So when it's in that regard, it's slavery. So as long as I make sure that I am employing, that I am doing the programming, I'm going to go ahead and do that, because I can trust me. I trust where I'm at spiritually. I trust where I'm at mentally. Not to say that I can't make a oops, but you know, we transmute things. I make it oops all the goddamn time. And, you know, I figure out how to transmute it. So I take it in that regard. But again, I am moving my use with this with training wheels, you know, because it's all about keywords you say, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely about the words. And I've always been a lover of words and how you use words, you know. Part of my consultation that I give to people is how to say things in a more professional way that's not so offensive, right? But you can still get the word across. And so it's just keywords with everything. And so even with the chat GPT, your words will determine your karma, or what you lure to yourself, or anything like that. It's all, the power is in your words and what you choose. Power is in choice. Even Jesus, in every you know, major mythical whatever, you had to choose them. They couldn't choose anything for you. Nobody can choose for you. The power of your choice is it. So the choice words and how you use them will determine what you get out of it, you know? So that karma is just what you do.
I know that's real. Wow, that was powerful, sis. Yeah, thank you for your insight on that, on that. Goddess Rah in the house. How you feel?
Oh, I'm good. You know what? You guys have done such a great job. I've just been over here enjoying, and I think I've just become the student tonight. So thank you all.
I'm here to tell you, I'm telling you, like this whole perspective on karma and time has, you know what I'm saying, definitely been enlightened like nobody's business. And I just wanted to go back and talk a little bit more before I wrap that up about, you know, that whole transcendence piece and everything. And when Axel was talking about how meditation helps us in transcending that karma, how we can really work in making those adjustments in our karma. And one thing that has happened for me in my experience, because I felt that so deeply, is that I never really could see how sitting in silence can help me to be a better person out here. But what it has done for me, it's given me this mental clarity to look at things without being so emotionally charged. And it helps me to be able to look at it like I'm still feeling it and I still understand it, but the attachment that I have to it is a little bit different. And that time that I'm allowing my mind to just be, to just receive the guidance the spirit may have for me, or even just allowing my mind to just dance around in a circle, whatever. I have noticed that just taking a little bit of time every day has done that for me. And with that, it's changed the way that I've been moving in these streets. So I got a little bit more discretion when I'm running my mouth. You know, I'm a little bit more aware of how I'm coming across with people. You know, I also got a lot more foresight so that I can see things, you know, see bigger picture and all of that. And then I also, yeah, go ahead, please. Oh, I thought there was somebody that had something to say. Oh, my bad. But yeah, but these are all things that has been noticeable for me in my whole meditation experience. Has meditation done any of those things for anybody else, or has it done something different? How has your work, or what work has been most effective for you? Because for me, I can say hands down, without all of anything else that I've done, meditation, hands down, has been the most powerful, transformative experience. Has anybody else had a similar experience, or is there something else that has really assisted them along their journey?
I've a really similar experience to that. So as far as in my meditations, is I've sat here and I've learned to classify all the different motherfuckers that's in my head. Cause I had to sit down, I had to give them names, I had to give them like basically their energies and what they bring in certain times. I have to understand which one of them I can run with and what's going to be most beneficial to me in that moment. So I've also learned to bring myself outside of that. Instead of saying I'm hurt, I'm hungry, or things like that, I'll say, well, she's hurt, she's hungry. Why is she feeling like that? And that gives me that little space and detachment so I can look at everything as a whole and then come back and make a decision that's going to be best for me or us, rather.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I got some information that was from Deepak Chopra's website, chopra.com. And there was a guy named Roger Gabriel who had an article in there that I thought was really intriguing and helpful, because it goes back to like the very basics when we start studying like metaphysics, where it talks about the chakras. And chakras is what store our karma in this lifetime. And the chakras, we already know, are like the energy centers through where our consciousness transforms into matter, right? And karma, it says, distorts that flow of consciousness, and it causes us to experience an illusory world. And clearing that karma helps us to step out of the illusion. And this exactly is what this Saturn and Pisces energy that we're experiencing right now, this is what that energy is all about, helping us to clear the karma so that we can step out of the illusion. And for me, more often than not, meditation has absolutely been one of those things that's been paramount for me. But one of the things that they say that you can do, of course, they say meditate. You know, this is chakra we're talking about. But discovering your dharma is defined as your purpose or your truth. So this is a time right now where the node is pointed to Taurus, the North Node. This is like our direction that we need to go in. And Taurus is all about your truth, your values, those things that's most important to you. And when you in tune with that, you get connected to your star player like nobody's business, man. And you start moving a little bit differently in these streets. And the moves that we make is a little bit more deliberate and focused. At least that's how it's been for me. Anybody else?
Yeah, that makes a whole lot. As far as stepping out of the illusion, I feel like that's what's going on around the world right now. Everybody is finally stepping out of the illusion that, you know, America is this great, wonderful place, or even not just America, just all over the world.
Yeah.
We're figuring out all the bullshit that we from the time we were born up now. You know what I'm saying? There's no hiding things anymore. So with laws coming down and everybody's seeing what's really going on, I believe that's also helping facilitate the rise in consciousness here on the planet now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of those things that I think that we kind of overlook, because we know we hear a lot of folks that's out here in these streets talking about these gratitude journals, right? And we know that shit for me, you know, it definitely helps me shift the frequency because I'm one of them Debbie Downer. If I get in my fucking mood, it's all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So a gratitude journal is definitely helpful for me. But the other thing that I do that, you know what, I think I'm kind of moving past that energy as I get older. So I'm getting a lot better with that. But I will hold on to a lot of things. Like shit happens, you know, people, they move a little slick sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta be in a space to forgive people, to cut folks a break. That don't necessarily mean that they get embraced back into the circle. You hold them tight and keep them close. But it does mean that we got to be in this space of forgiveness so that we ain't ruminating on that shit and letting it lower our vibration. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, I thought Brother Axel had something to say, but I've been thinking.
I saw Dante come up.
Oh.
Okay, because I've had an issue like that, and it's like I've been really working on forgiveness here lately. But there is just this one person that itches my ass, and I'm like, but I want to let it go because I'm pretty sure that she really don't even care.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's I had to examine myself, and that's when I first got to the point of looking at it as she, like, why is she still mad about that? About out yet. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm still holding on to it. I want to let it go, but it's just not happening for me right now.
Let me tell you about how I freed myself a few months back. You know, I had some in-laws that I didn't really feel too warmly about. And, you know, when we had family get-togethers, you know, unfortunately, you know, I have to be blessed with their presence, you know. And, you know, I wasn't feeling too good about that. And I used to really let that presence steal my joy, all because I was still ruminating on some shit that happened a few years ago where they made me feel put on the spot and embarrassed, and you know what I'm saying? And I just really didn't appreciate you putting me on Front Street like that and trying to ridicule a sister in these streets and that type of, you know what I'm saying, that whole type of he vibration, you know what I'm saying, that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? It happened so long ago, I can't even remember all the details. That's how fucking petty it is. But anyway, I was really letting that shit steal my joy. But I'm gonna tell you something. I got it in my mind to release that shit and let it go. And I didn't think for sure that I would be able to do that. But when we got together at that damn thing, I ain't study her all like that. Hey, how you doing? And it was a sincereness of me saying hello, how you doing? That didn't mean that we exchanged numbers, decided to go on a shopping trip together, made a commitment to reconnect, and no shit like that. But just breaking that whole tense vibration and everything, not only did it just completely shift my whole experience of hanging out with my family, it lightened the whole vibe and everything. And now it's almost as if, you know, she's feeling like she did something that's jiving. Now she's, you know, trying to make amends, which I give her every opportunity to make amends, but that still don't mean we tight like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And being in a space where you can forgive people doesn't mean that you're not aware of who they are.
You know, I understand that.
Give them.
I do have a butt, and I know everything but is bullshit. But for me, I'm still at a place of violence with mine.
Yeah.
So like I have a long way to go. And it's been a whole lot of years.
Yeah.
Still very violent about it. So I have to, you know, I can be nowhere around this person at all.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
You ain't getting, right. Yeah, right. I can't argue with you. Sheila, you got something you wanted to say? Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, you know, Axel, I heard you mention Aquarius Maximus earlier, and and I'm glad you mentioned her name because she made a post on Facebook today that really had me thinking. And you know, I come from a church background or whatever, but she said she was praying or meditating, and she said one of the things that was revealed to her about our culture is that we don't have repentance. And so I was like, I got to look that word up and really redefine what that means, because it seems like it could be along the line. There's that cat. Seems like it could be along the line of karma.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so I really want to rediscover that word and break down the etymology of it and really get a new feeling for what it means, because I heard it in church and I hated it, right? But now hearing it and understanding that our generation do not have that, nor do we have a sense of what it really meant, that could be key to something, you know, and that just stuck with me today. So I just wanted to share. That's going to be my homework or my takeaway from this in regards to the word repentance, and really see what that means for me and re-adjudicate that back into my life in a way where it's meaningful, you know, because I just feel that it ties into karma, because I do fuck shit, you know. I'll do some fuck shit, and it's just like, is there karma behind that? Or, you know, because I can even justify, like, okay, here's something so transparent, so funny, I don't give a fuck. I shop at the Goodwill, right? And I've been doing that for years, but lately the prices are way too high for donated things, and they don't pay their employees. Yeah, they don't pay their employees a livable wage, and they brag that they give jobs to disabled people, but these people still need to be on food stamps and all that other kind of stuff. And the prices are just way too expensive. They treat their employees like criminals because they got to get searched before and searched afterwards. You cannot buy from the store that you work at. Like, it's ridiculous. And all of that stuff is donated. And the CEO, he makes millions of dollars a year. So every time I go into the Goodwill, I steal something, because this is just my get back at them, you know?
Look,
listen, you ain't the only one. I changed the price tag. That's I changed the price tag. Like, this ain't a fair price. No, fuck that. I don't like that price at all. This is a
fair. Look, hey Sheila, I remember Bobby used to say stuff like that. He said,
"Come on, Bobby is Sagittarius. Me and Bobby kind of the same. Exactly what Bobby, that's me, right? We Sagittarius." And so I knew I can justify my shit. The spill that I just gave y'all, that justifies doing what I do for me, right? But at the end of the day, on some level, it's still some fuck shit. So with that being said, do I repent? What's my karma for that? You know what I'm saying? Can I create my own karma? I talk to the employees. I give the employees tips. Like, these are things that I do in one regard from the other. So, you know, this is just me. Sometimes I just be like, Sheila, that's you just justifying your fuck shit. But at the same time, you know, am I creating the karma from what I've done that I may feel like could be looked at wrong from somebody else's perspective? You know, so I think that repentance, and however you do, because I hear the word pence in there, or penance. I really want to really break that down, what that means. And pinch something is like money or pay or something. Who do you owe? What do you owe? To you know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna do that. So that was just some transparent shit I wanted to share, just to let y'all know I do fuck shit, and that's one of them. But I justify my fuck shit good enough for me, you know. And again, I'm not a thief, you know. I don't go, you know what I'm saying. But even at all of my jobs at corporate America, because I know how they rob us so much, I rob them too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Time, it supplies. I'll order food on the company card. I will do it all, whatever I could do, however I could do it, because I know at the end of the day, they're doing 10 times worse to the employees than we could ever take in paper, pencils, food, supplies, screens, monitors, laptops, you name it. I can go down the list. So, you know what I'm saying?
So what you're expressing is that Cali energy, right?
Yep.
You're right in your perspective. See, we have different ways of viewing things. Just because you steal something doesn't mean you did something wrong. It just depends on what your heart had in mind at the point when you did it.
I'll ask that question too.
Because I'll tell you this, I'm not gonna damn near incriminate myself right now, but I used to do a bunch of shit at a job that I had, right? And I got fired, right? But this was like, I justified it like this, right? They would bring in new people when they know I was under a union, and they couldn't bring people that were new and give them more hours. And they just treated me like shit. And I was like top flight employee. You know what I mean? I did everything. So at a certain point, I said, fuck that. You stealing from me? I'm going to steal from you. I was taking diamonds. I was taking all kinds of shit. But then what happened for me is it became like a klepto type thing where now I just did it for fun.
You in the groove now.
So now I just did it for fun. But at the same time, I still felt justified in my perspective. Now, at a certain point, they gave me a full-time position, and I said, I ain't taking shit no more. And I stopped for months. Never got caught doing anything for months. And then all of a sudden, I'm in there with my phone. I break my phone. You know, I end up saying, man, I could just take a phone. In that moment, I swear, I had this like lightning hit me. It's like, if you take it, like something's gonna go wrong. But mind you, I had taken shit all these times and I didn't feel shit. So in this moment, I took it. Months went by and I'm like, oh shit, nothing happened. Whatever I was feeling. And then I got caught up through somebody else. It was the craziest story, but I got caught up through somebody else, and that's how I ended up getting fired. Wow. But at the same time, in that moment, dude, I thought like my whole world collapsed. Like I had been at this job for a very long time. It was a career at this point, and then I was like, shit, my life. I'm depressed now. Where do I go? Like all these things. But there's always a higher purpose. So what I would say is like, no matter what people are doing, everyone's in their place and playing their position, no matter what we're doing. But to me, repentance, that's funny you say that, because that's been coming up for me as well. And that I grew up from the age of like 16 to 23. I mean, I was cleaning the church. I was leading song service. I had a rap group. I would go set up outreaches, like all kinds of stuff. But for us, repentance was like, every day I have to repent because I know I did something wrong. So there was something like off about that, right? Like the way that we were doing it. I think repentance now should be like more of a, like viewing it like a karmic pendulum swing, right? If I don't correct what I'm feeling in my heart, which is my heart, if I'm not correcting that, then something's off here. I don't feel okay.
There you go. I can rock with that.
Me too. Yes.
And that's basically how we have to move, you know. And I don't see anything wrong with certain things. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and judge nobody. That's the great thing about this shit. The more you're evolving, the more compassion, the things that you thought you needed when you were in church, this shit comes naturally when you are doing your own internal work.
Right. Because there's many versions of the church. When I was deep into the church, but one thing that I noticed is that I was doing a whole bunch of shit. I was doing the most. Like, I would come to church and I would be blasted coming to church. You know what I'm saying? But then as I started becoming more and more involved, I started becoming more of a disciple, where I started really studying the teaching and all of that, still doing my thing, still about the business of fuckery, still doing my own moves, but something about getting baptized. And so this is why I was it didn't, what it did is that once I got baptized, a lot of the desire that I had to do a lot of that shit, it fell off of me. So that was more in the spirit of repentance. You know what I'm saying? And just the same, and the reason why, because I really, I think that we get this spirituality game twisted because we get locked into these religious walls. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm really showing, this is how I really was really buying into this whole thing when I started learning about metaphysics of these spiritual baths. Because I learned about the transformative effect that being baptized had on my life, where a lot of that shit that I was up to, and I was doing the most, that the desire for it began to dissipate after getting baptized and repenting and having a true heart. Like, my heart was, I was really trying to get right, but the heart wants what the heart wants. So the spiritual bath, and these are the things that we still do as spiritual beings. We still take these spiritual baths. You know what I'm saying? To help in cleansing our aura and resetting us, so that when we get into that energy of wanting to what the church calls repent, you know what I'm saying? But that's the same thing as saying, I'm deciding that I'm going vegan. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing as I'm deciding that I'm gonna stop going off on people. You know what I'm saying? Stop taking shit. Stop, you know what I'm saying? Fucking around with other people's man or woman or whatever in the fuck. You know what I'm saying? When you decide you turning away from a behavior, I ain't getting high on that no more. I'm done with that. You know what I'm saying? The spiritual bath is what opens the door to that repentance that we're talking about. Because what that does is it helps in cleansing the aura, so that you get that energy up off of you, so that you can hit the reset button and begin moving forward in the direction that you're truly intending to live. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be this legalistic approach that we've been taught, that, you got to live right, you got to read this, you got to pray to the east, or whatever in the fuck, you know what I'm saying? What have you they got for you to do in order to be righteous. One thing that I do know is that there's a powerful spiritual benefit in that water. That's what I know for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
and program the water to the frequencies that you want. That's what I've been doing here lately. I bought me a waterproof speaker, and I will play different meditation tones or different frequencies, something to heal or something for my mind, whatever I need at the time. I'll also get me a few herbs and all of that stuff to put in my bath as well. So yeah, it definitely helps me to reset and get my shit in order, for real.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was the person showing up to work with something like this. I was that person, right? And then I'm waving it all over my water. You know what I'm saying? While everybody look at me with the gas face. You know what I'm saying, right? But anyway, I'm that person. But maybe like Aquarius Moon is saying, maybe a more practical approach, because it's not necessarily about hiding who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's more for me about not necessarily trying to create a spectacle about shit. Like you can still do these things and have a little bit of savoir-faire while we navigate these streets. You know what I'm saying? But that was, you know what I'm saying? And I still do that because you come to my house, you in my world. You know what I'm saying? However, you know, I'm not gonna take this, you know, to the family get together and beat this over everybody's, you know, drinks and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, at least not no more. At least not no more. Hey, listen, hey, people get simple as hey yo with a few drinks in my family. That's when I started working with the God Hoti. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know, whatever. But it is what it is. But listen, I want to go ahead and wrap this up and thank you guys so much for coming in here and sharing your light, your energy, and just really helping to gain a broader perspective on this thing we call karma out here in these streets. You know, it's been a lot of misinterpretation on what that looks like. And everybody is entitled to have their unique perspective. That's the age that we in now. You know what I'm saying? There's no right and exact. There's many truths out here. And that's what this is all about. So yeah, I'm definitely here for it. And it's just so good, you know, to be around those enlightened beings that's going to come and give me something to think about that I never thought about. So I do appreciate each and every last one of you guys. Does anybody have anything to say before I call it? All right, then. Well, y'all, peace and light and peace and love. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Thank you so much for supporting the Cypher. Peace, y'all.
Peace, fam.